All right, I just want to talk about this a little more. I know I go into the whole assets, the whole fiat currency, the whole gamut, but it's such a strong thing. It's so essential that people learn this stuff and use it and go by with it and I mean, it's taken me years. Well, I got into this, but it took me years. And there's probably still more indoctrination in me. That's not completely out, but it had taken me years to undo all that was done in K through 12 and even college to a little bit. I went to a private college, and it was basically just for my degree that I got, and it was for marketing and advertising. So it really had not much to do with society as a whole entity, with the whole agenda of pushing, what they're pushing nowadays, their sciences and their all that, feel good stuff. They didn't have that. Now you went back, I might see some stuff that's there, but anyways, that's what it was. It was basically about the hardcore stuff. But anyways, enough of that. This is about what's going on. I mean, think of it. Society, Main Street, uses currency. Whether it's cash like this $100 bill, which this isn't used that much, and I'll talk about this a little more. Or digits on your credit card, your ATM card, whatever it is. You just use your little phone, you put it up, and you pay that way, Apple Pay, whatever you want to call it. That's digits. That's currency. That's still using the same thing that this used for the most part. The difference is this is real. I can hold it. And digits are just pretend. They don't exist. They're make believe. They're like you don't even see them. It's something. It's just on a machine. This is at least real paper. This is nothing like the assets I talked about, gold and silver. No, those have real value, they have real use case. This is just, it has ink on it, and people accept it for now, which will come to an end sooner than later. So anyways, so that's what Main Street and society, uses currency. They invest in currency. They have 401k, they have IRAs, they have pensions that are based on currencies. They have savings account that's based off the currency, that kind of stuff. That's what they have. That's what they use. And people, their child's growing up, they get money, they get this kind of stuff, they get whatever, and then they send them to the bank to deposit in the bank, and that's the worst place you can have your money, if you want to call it money. That's the worst place you can put your money, is the bank. And this is not about that. But, so think about it. Society, Main Street, you and I, not me, myself, but most people, you're forced to use it. But most people just use it willy-nilly. I use it because I'm forced to use it. So I try to keep as little as I have to, as little as necessarily I possibly have to have. But it's fake money. There's no real value in it. Even this, there's no value. Even this, it's real paper, so it's better than digits. It's real paper, but there's no money. There's no real value. It's pretend. It has $100. It's 100, but there's no real value. There's no real value. It has no real use. It's not silver. It's not gold. It's not land. It's not tools. It's not knowledge. It's not, it's nothing. So beyond that, with that, it's used for exchange of products and services because we have to. We've been bullied into it. We've been indoctrinated into it. That's just what society uses now for life's essentials, whatever, or even the beyond life's essentials, the fun. At the same time, the government, banks, politicians, and their buddies, whether they knew us or not, continue accumulating assets, hard materials, assets for living. Those that own all or most will rent out items to those individuals for a price, of course, and probably other stipulations, all about control, social credit stipulations. So they're accumulating these assets. They're accumulating the stuff the things that you have to have. They're accumulating those, the have-tos. I have to have this to live. I have to have water. I have to have food. I have to have this to grow my water or grow my food. I need my water to grow my food. I need this thing to grow my food. I have to have this to XYZ. I have to have this to live. I have to have this to create these things that I need to live. Those are owned by the government, the politicians, the bankers, that kind of stuff, the central banks. Those are owned by them. At the same time, society, Main Street, everyone else, the hundreds of millions are all, everything's in this. Yes, they have digits. They have digits in a 401k that might say, I am a millionaire. I have $500 million. Or I have $20,000 or whatever it is. It's digits. That's what it is. It's nothing. You can't use that for anything. You can use it to get stuff that's real right now, but other than that, this whole fraud collapses. It will when it does. You can't do anything with it. It's as good as that $100,000 Zimbabwe note or the other currencies that I have of the inflated, hyperinflated places that their currency went to trash. It's worth less than toilet paper. You can't even buy toilet paper with it now. So those that have everything will rent out things to those that have nothing, and it all gets down to you will own nothing. You're not going to be happy, but you will own nothing. So I'm just going to go through a little list here. No home or land ownership. You're just going to rent and lease. No car ownership. Just pay for rides. You're going to lease it, rent it, whatever, or you won't have anything. You'll just have to have public transportation. No software. Like I've talked about this before. You won't own the software, so if anything happens, they can change it on a dime. You can't get into it, that kind of stuff, because you don't own the disk. You can't, install it. You can't operate it without the internet. No phone, no computer, no ownership of those things. Just going to rent them, lease them, as long as you're abiding by, or as long as you can, as long as they allow you to. Entertainment, CDs, DVDs, video games, that kind of stuff. You rent them. It says you purchase. If you could buy a digital movie, you buy a digital song. Yeah, it says you have that, but it's on somebody else's hard drive. Like Vudu, for example. It's on somebody else's hard drive. You don't own it. You might have paid for it, but you don't own it. So if anything happens, this whole woke nation, and they say, well, that movie is no longer good or it needs to be edited, they will just edit it. They just will delete it. It just won't be there anymore. So like book burning, it's going to happen. Same with books. If you're buying books, and it's all digits, it's on somebody else's hard drive. You don't own it. Yeah, you paid the same amount that you would have for a physical item, but you don't own it. We got same with educational materials to an end. The same thing. We got pretty soon. They're not going to need passwords, so you won't have to worry about passwords because it's going to be biometric sign-in style. It will only be allowed in the future. It's only going to be like that. So eye scan, facial scan, that kind of stuff. Whatever. It might start with fingerprints, whatever, handprints, palm prints. I think some of that's going on now, but it's going to be like that. So you can't just willy-nilly sign in wherever you want without giving something of yours, bio-identity. No privacy, pretty much. You won't have any privacy. Everything's surrounding you all the time. Maybe you brought it into your home, smart TV, iPhone, smartphone, whatever the case is, you brought it into there. Even without that, there's cameras all over everywhere, especially in the cities. It is crazy how many cameras are all over. Traffic cameras, even on the freeways, highways, that kind of stuff. But just the city is just engulfed with them. That's gone. No more animal meat farms. It's going to go away. So you won't own. You can't go to the stores to purchase meat. You won't be able to. Not real meat, real beef, real chicken, real pork, real whatever. They're trying to get that to go away. So you won't own it. You'll have to buy. Maybe you'll have to have some sort of membership, some sort of subscription for their Beyond Meat, fraud that they're pushing. That kind of stuff. There's going to be it's going to be tough if you own animals. Not right now. Right now, I would get used to it. I would learn about it, and I would get into if you have the room for cows. Chickens are so easy. I'd start there just for eggs, that kind of stuff. It doesn't have to be poultry chickens. I would just start there. Right now is the time to get into this stuff and learn it, because if people aren't doing it, it's going to get taken away. So right now is the time to do it, because they want to take it away. So this kind of stuff I'm talking about, some's happening, and others they're pushing because they want to have happen as fast as they can. So you won't have that option if you don't make it possible to have that option. So if you don't know how to hunt, learn how to hunt, that kind of stuff. You don't know how to fish, learn how to fish. You don't know where to fish, learn about it. You don't know where to hunt, learn about it. You don't have access to fishing, figure it out. They're public lands, start there. Learn, get to know the neighbors, get to know the farmers in your local area, get to know the people in your community, in your county, that kind of stuff. Get to know people. And start doing stuff yourself on all this stuff. And no more cash. No more cash. They're doing away with it. They're already doing away with ATM machines. They're not. There's not as many as there used to be at all. They used to be everywhere. Now there's not even close to how many there used to be. They're doing away with this right now, the best they can. I hope they don't succeed. I really hope they don't. But it doesn't look good, because no one's using this. No one's using this. No one, that's strong. Barely anybody is using this anymore. Barely anybody uses cash. Barely anybody. Sort of like, well, we'll get rid of cash because no one uses it anyway, so how hard is it going to be? But if everyone's using it, or almost everyone's using it, they can't take it away. They can't do that. They'll try, but they won't succeed. They'll try, but they won't succeed. They cannot take it away if almost everyone's using it. I can't say that enough, but barely anyone's using it, so it's going to be easy. Yeah, there's going to be some resistance. There's going to be some resistors. There's going to be some people that try to keep it going. I'm one of them. Cash as much as they can for everything and keep it out of the banks. But it's a struggle. It wouldn't be as big of a struggle if everyone's using it. It's going to be the norm. It will be the norm. If people start using it more and more, it'll be a lot easier. Sort of like drive-ins. Remember drive-ins? You drive your car in, you could see 2 or 3 movies. There was this place in the state I used to live in, Minnesota, years ago, and we used to go there at least once a year. We try to go more than once a year, but we went at least once a year because I always thought, I like the drive-in. I want to make it a point, if there's not a great movie there, I'll at least go there for a movie that I want to try to see at a drive-in, at least, so I get to the drive-in so it doesn't go away. Because it was so much cheaper, so much more freedom, and I wanted to bring our kids there. Get our kids there, get them used to this, get them out. Because this may go away. And it was my whole feeling of it. And they have closed now, most of them over time. And I remember a few years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago, someone said, yeah, you know what, it's a bummer that the drive-ins are going away. I remember when this one used to be there, and that one used to be there, and that one used to be there. That's too bad. I miss the drive-ins. And my comment was, then go to them. I said, there's still one here. Go to it. Yeah, we should. And, it's been 4 or 5 years. I don't even think they've gone since. So that's the whole deal. Yeah, it sounds like a good idea, but if people don't do it, it's going to go away. This sounds like a good idea to use it instead of digits, but if people don't use it, it's going to go away. That's all it's to it. It's going to go away. And this is the last string. This is the last line. This is the last, thing we have of freedom or privacy with the transactions. This is it. This is the last of it right now. This is it. This is our last line. Do not let this go away, because it'll be so tough to get it back. I don't think it'll ever come back. Not cash, freedom. Freedom of purchases. I don't think that will ever come back. You still have it right now. Use it. I don't know what else to say. But anyways, just think about this. It's getting crazy. And go back to what I said in the beginning. Society, Main Street, you and I use fake money, paper, digits, mainly digits, to pay for everything, to save for our retirement, to invest in the stock market, to XYZ. At the same time, the politicians, banks, those that should not be in power, those that should not have any power, they are buying up all the assets. They're buying up all the mining companies. They're buying up all the, the oil access. They're buying up, not all of them, but they're buying up a lot of gold mining companies, or at least access to them. They're buying up a lot of land, tons and tons of farmland. Look at Bill Gates, buying up tons of farmland. If you don't own anything, you don't have any options. You don't have any choices. You don't have any say. You will soon won't have any freedom for anything. So I just want to let people know this is serious. Serious. Get your children involved. Let them know. Get your grandchildren involved. Let them know. Let your neighbors know. Let your friends know. Let your relatives know. This is serious. And yeah, a lot of people don't react until they have to. A lot of people don't start eating healthier, or don't start watching what they do, or don't start watching their weight, or don't start whatever until they start to hurt, until they start to have heart issues, or until they have stomach problems, or still this starts to happen. But do not do that, because if that happens here, it's not coming back. It's not coming back. I don't know how to tell you that. There's a saying, if you don't think about your health now, you'll have no choice but to think about your health later. I think that goes the same to say with your finances. If you don't think about your finances now, assets, what you have, the real things in your life, if you don't think about that right now, you'll be forced to think about it later, but later, there won't be a thing you can do about it. You're only going to be thinking, oh, if I only would have, I wish I would have did this instead. I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have paid attention. Well, you can wish us what you want. It doesn't change the fact of where you're at. Well, it might be now, but if that happens. So anyways, I want to thank you for watching this. As always, hit like, share, subscribe. And as always, stay vigilant, protect yourself and your family, to help and protect your life.